Well, good morning, Madam Secretary. We're so glad to have you with us. I do have to say, just on the issue of gas prices, after waiting for a long time to have enough chips in this country to finally get my electric vehicle, I got it and drove it from Michigan to here this last weekend and went by every single gas station, and didn't matter how high it was. And so I'm looking forward to the opportunity for us to move to vehicles that aren't going to be dependent on the whims of the oil companies and the international markets. Madam Secretary, let me just back up a second, because when President Biden came in, he really inherited a mess. And the reality is that even starting with the deficit, that 30% of all the publicly held debt in the country was created during 4 years of President Trump, including the largest tax cut for rich people and corporations. And so huge, and thank you for bringing that down. That deficit is now coming down faster even than we would have hoped. But there was no system for distributing vaccines. Children weren't in school. We didn't have testing, let alone home testing. We didn't have medicines. I mean, small businesses and restaurants and theaters, everyone worried about, were we going to be able to save lives and get through this? The good news is we did. And a big piece of that was what was done in the American Rescue Plan to make sure we have vaccines and could help children get back in school and help our restaurants and help people survive and so on. So I want to just reiterate the fact that based on all of that effort, we've seen the U.S. add 8.7 million jobs since President Biden took office, including 545,000 manufacturing jobs, which I'm particularly excited about. Business investment up 20%, more small business applications in 2021 than in any previous year. So that's good news. Here's the challenge that we know, and which we're all talking about now. Despite all this great news, when you have a global supply chain, and we're not getting enough of those chips for automobiles, and we have consolidation in the food industry, and we have all these other issues. People have more savings, they want to buy things, but the things aren't there to buy. And that's supply chain breakdowns, and that leads to inflation, which is where we are right now, which is what we're all talking about, which is very real for everyone. I mean, the exact story is different in different parts of the economy, but the bottom line is that people have more savings to buy things, not enough things to buy, prices go up, and so here we are. You didn't create that, President Biden didn't, we didn't. It was the result of what has happened in this global economy, frankly, that I think we need to rectify by bringing jobs home, making more things in America and so on, which I appreciate the Biden administration doing. So if you could just take a moment to speak a little bit more about what you believe we need to be doing in Congress to help bring those prices down. It's great political theater to point and just say, oh, prices are up. And my reaction is, duh, they're up for everybody. The question is, what are we going to do about it? And that's going to take bipartisan support to get that done. So could you talk a little bit more about what we should be doing to help bring those prices down?
So let me say, I think that bringing inflation down should be our #1 priority, and President Biden, in an op-ed on inflation in recent remarks, has indicated that it is our top priority. We do have to recognize the Federal Reserve is charged, has an important role to play, and they're committed to doing what it takes to bring inflation down. And President Biden is strongly supportive of the independence of the Fed and getting out of the way and giving them the room to do what they need to do. I think we can complement that by deficit reduction. But beyond that, the president has done what we can to address supply chain challenges. And as discussed with Senator Wyden, Chair Wyden, that I believe Congress, the president believes Congress can do a lot to mitigate some of the most important and burdensome costs that households face, whether it's that they can't find affordable housing, that prescription drug prices are too high, and we can address that while also raising revenue for the government, whether it's high healthcare costs or high energy costs, by making the investments in renewables that are necessary to bring down utility bills and shield us from geopolitical developments that provide shocks to our economy. These are things that Congress can do, and in the course of doing that, we'll expand the supply side of our economy because while we know private investment is one important investment we need to make to improve the economy's potential, there are others. Infrastructure, investment in people, in education, in training, investment in child care and early childhood education, elder care that would enable greater labor force participation. All of that could help to bring down inflation and lead to strong, sustainable, stable growth.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Stabenow. Our next three will be